Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to thank you all for joining us. Very, very excited to have our first Faith and Resilience call with Swami Dayananda this morning. Swami, I'm going to ask if you would like to welcome everyone with a special recitation.
I'd like to offer 3 shlokas of prayers that we do at Yogaville before we begin anything together. I will do it in Sanskrit and in English, but we'll do 3 Oms together, or actually you can do Om. I may not be able to hear you, but we can be doing that together. You are welcome to close your eyes. Just take a nice deep breath in and out, and just center ourselves into our heart center. Omkaram bindu samyuktam nityam dhyayanti yoginaha kamadam mokshadam chaive omkarayat namo namaha. Om, united with the source on which the yogis ever dwell, grants desires and liberation. Salutations to the Omkaram. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nishprapanjaya Shantaya Nirarambaya Tejase. The Guru is auspiciousness, embodiment of truth, knowledge, bliss. Salutations to the one who's beyond the worlds, peaceful, independent, and radiant. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva, tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Thou art my mother, my father, thou art. Thou art my family, my friend, thou art. Thou art my knowledge, my wealth, thou art. Thou art my all, oh, the light of all lights, thou art. Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you for joining this prayer to invoke the blessings of the Guru, the God within, and to call upon the Mother, Father, that we say, oh, the light of all light. Thank you.
Thank you, Swami. So it was important for me to begin the series with a chat with someone from the Hindu tradition. I think resilience has really entered the healthcare paradigm when thinking of solutions dealing with trauma, and a lot of the sort of the elements of resilience are recognized as having roots in Hindu faith tradition. And so this is very, very special to launch this conversation with you. So I really wanted to first ask you to really just define resilience from your perspective of your Hindu faith and sort of your specific, it's not necessarily denomination, but the yogic practice of Hindu that you sort of live? And sort of what are the beliefs and principles that define and embody resilience for you?
Yes, thank you. Resilience, that's a beautiful word. We live resiliently every day because we're faced with a lot of obstacles. The first prayer was to Lord Ganesha, remover of the obstacles. I think I will just give from my yogic practices of integral yoga. Swami Dayananda often quoted, faith and fear don't go together. And whenever something happens that are very difficult, like what we're facing now, we take as a test to our own faith. Do we give in to fear, or do we bring our faith alive in daily situations? And I used to go through a lot of my own personal difficulties. And when the example was given that when something really, really difficult happens, think of like a post that has to be well grounded into the earth, you have to pound it into the ground. And then you have to shake it to see if it moves. And then you have to pound it again until it really is steady. And in a way, resilience for me is to be taking advantage of all the yoga practices that I have learned through integral yoga, which is to keep our physical body healthy, my mind at peace, and my heart full of devotion and faith. And to, when things come that are very difficult, to remember, where am I with that? How much do I shake? How much steadier I am? And so I go to prayer, of course, in a very much a Hindu tradition, bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion is so very important to open our heart. And karma yoga, yoga of service. I am so inspired by the frontline people now who are serving, giving their own life, their own selves, taking risks and serving others, selfless service. Those are two of the major Hindu precepts and practices. So I find in the yoga practices the tools to be resilient and to, connect it back to my faith. Thank you.
So by serving, does that give you the strength to not shake, or like sort of what is that practice? How does that build the resilience for you, the selfless serving?
Yes, how the question is, how does service keep me resilient? As we pray Tvameva Matacha and Pita Tvameva, and that Hinduism too is a spiritual oneness of all of us, not only human beings, but animals, the creation, the spiritual oneness. And when we serve for the sake of others, forgetting ourselves, that is, we are affirming that we are one, because we think of, like Jesus teaching, love thy neighbor as thyself, I believe is coming from that. We are one, so we serve others as we would want to be served or loved. And so when I hear of the incredible service that so many people are doing, I mean, you listen to the truck drivers, the UPS drivers, the nurses, the doctors, grocery, just like us, what we say, ordinary people.
Yes.
What is so resilient, inspiring for me is that that it's in every one of us to love one another, and it comes out at times of crisis, especially. And that, when we connect with each other, whether we are suffering together or joy together, it is such a light. It shines the light in our heart, and it really makes it it makes me resilient, really. So I do what I can do from where I am to be as much of service as possible. You can't just kind of, if you get into fear, you kind of get into your own head and your heart. But if you are starting to give and do things for others, you are expanded and open, and you're ready. In a way, another teaching is the surrender. Having faith means surrender, and that is in the core of many faiths. That once we surrender, that we will face everything together, going pain or joy. Then we don't think, that's perhaps that's even beyond resilience. It's the way we live. Thank you.
No, that's beautiful. That is very true, especially in this time. And I was visualizing when you were talking about the example of the pounding, and you have to come back and check yourself and see, well, how much am I shaking, and the pounding. And I think, can you talk about sort of that struggle between feeling helpless and surrender? Like, what's the difference from your perspective? I think that there's, like you said, in all faiths traditions, there is a principle of surrender. How do you conceive helping people fight against feeling weak, like that surrendering is a weakness and not necessarily a strength?
Yes, wonderful question. I've asked that question many times when I faced some really difficult things. When one feels helpless, I have experienced many times. Like even now, you see so much suffering, and you feel a little helpless as to what is it that I can do? Can I do anything? And of course you pray, and then you have heard through other, things that people really want to happen. They say, we don't want your prayers. We want action. Yes? And you feel like helpless. No, what can I do? And so I would say, whenever I felt the most helpless in my ability or my own individual power to do something, at least even for my own improvement or for someone else, I think that is when I had to, the only place I could go was to give up. Give up the thought that I could do something. And when I and it was really at a step at a time of, if I really gave up that thought that I can do something, I can plan something, I can get this and that and get this done or achieve this or that, and I would face failure after failure. This wasn't happening. So then it's like, try everything, then I give up. Seems like God makes you try as much as you can until you give up that what is basically still ego-driven. For me, it has been the how to learn to be selfless is to become ego-less and try to be as much possible to come from that pure place, and tested after tested. And once I truly gave up, and often it has taken me to crying, sobbing, God, I cannot do this. I've tried everything. It is not happening. I give up. And that's when I finally experienced surrender, what you call surrender. And then I say, God, you have to do it. Or it's up to you. or do it through me, or whatever. And then I would experience a sense of surrender. And lo and behold, when I give up, God comes in. It's not, that has never failed. I don't know if it's too abstract the way I'm talking, but
No, it's beautiful.
it has been that way for me. Thank you.
No, it's beautiful. Are there any sort of, in those moments, to sort of help either guide you or push you to a place of surrender, or to stay in a place of surrender? Any scripture or sacred text that you rely on that kind of undergird sort of that power of release? Uh-oh, Swami.
Yes, we lost each other.
I can't hear you, Swami. Oh, Swami? Uh-oh, Swami. Yeah, she just hung up. So I think she's going to try to dial back in. Let me unmute everybody in the meantime. I'd love to hear from everyone who's on the call while she dials back in. I'm so happy. Everyone, I unmuted everyone, so if you can just introduce yourselves, that would be beautiful while we wait for Swami to come back.
Okay, I'll start. I'm Roberta Oster. I am just so grateful that you organized this, and for me to hear Swami's voice and see her face and receive her blessings, and get her wisdom, you know, is so meaningful. You know, she's an activist and an actual Swami. And she has worked with Kendall and our whole interfaith power team on stopping the pipeline, which is right near Yogaville. So she's and I know a lot of those Swamis and have known her for a long time. And she is one of the few who's able to balance the real world of being on the front lines as an activist and being such a high priestess. So thank you, Dora.
Thank you.
Well, this is Julie. I think I'm unmuted.
Yes, I muted everyone. You can talk.
Oh, I was needing something like this morning, so I looked at the Zoom message that Roberta sent out, and you know, I so appreciated her comments about, and you asked the question, Roberta, how can we surrender when we are so stressed? And this idea of keeping ourselves healthy. I mean, exercise really does make a difference. Walks or however you take it, but you know, helping to calm our mind and then using prayer. I mean, it's just so helpful. And then there's this guy on my lap. Pretty helpful during stressful times. I mean, he gives you love regardless. But I thank you for organizing this, Dora. It was good.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Hey, this is Kim. I got on too to support my wonderful Dora. So, you know, I thought for a minute I had to have a password and I couldn't get on, and anyway, but now I'm on. So anyway, hey.
Anyone else?
You missed, Kim, you missed Swami's beautiful opening prayers. Maybe she'll do it. Dora, you could ask her to do it again. She just texted me. She's trying to redial.
Okay.
Yeah, I was seeing a message saying that her
Bandwidth was low.
bandwidth was low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yogaville doesn't have great.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry you missed her prayer. That was really.
Yeah, she'll close out in a prayer as well. Garen says hi. Garen, you want to talk? You have to unmute. Want me to unmute you, Garen? Garen, you're unmuted.
I couldn't get on till I did my roundup too and sent it to Roberta so she wouldn't yell at me.
That's very yogic of you, Kim. Thank you.
Well, for those who were listening to what she said until she comes back on, thank you, Julie, for sharing. Is there anyone else who kind of wants to share about what sort of they're feeling already in terms of what she shared, in terms of defining it and the illustration that she used? I thought was really, really good.
Well, this is Julie again. It's interesting because my husband is digging a hole for a pole that's going to anchor a basketball net. We live on top of a mountain so that our grandson can play basketball more successfully without the ball rolling down the hill. Anyway, I was thinking about the project that they took on to get a hole that was like firm, big enough and strong enough to hold a pole that they figure out. And so I kept thinking about what she was saying about ourselves, and it was just so interesting. And of course, we're going to use cement to cement it in. So it's kind of like, what is your cement? You know, your faith. You know, what is the cement that gives us that resilience? And I just I liked that and it has applicability to what we're trying to do here with literally a pole that we're trying to get into the ground.
Yes. That is so funny. That is funny. Yeah, I was even shaking when she kept on giving the example about how, and then you pound it in and you move it and shake it and you pound it again. And that's really how life is. It is like, it seems like this the pounding, you know, and it is that ebb and flow kind of in life.
Yeah.
And I really loved how she was describing the selfless serving and how that then contributes to strengthening you. That was really, really beautiful. Anyone else would like to share? I think Roberta's talking to her on the phone. Are you talking to her on the phone, Roberta? I think so. No, we won't get her back.
So we got 2 inches of snow in Chicago last night. I'm just, bleh.
It's not snowing here. Right, it's not snowing here.
It's so cold. It's really awful.
Roberta, were you speaking to her?
Yeah, Swami said she's going to try and call in from her phone. She couldn't use her call in from her laptop.
Okay.
So I sent her the link again.
Okay, excellent. Excellent.
But in the meantime, I could show everyone your book.
My book? My book? What is he doing?
I have been reading. I have a shelf of spiritual readings that I keep by my little altar where I try to pray each day. Not like an idol altar, but a little altar where I put all of my yoga stuff and all the things from India. And this is Dora's book.
This is not a part of the scheduled program.
Reconciliation of Abraham's seed, but it's beautiful, beautiful, inspiring wisdom from different faith traditions that I love. So this opportunity to make a commercial for Dora's book.
Nice.
Thanks, Roberta.
Another spiritual tool, which is why Dora can really reach into us on these topics. So there we go.
You know, I for those who came in later, I opened up the conversation sharing that. And that's one of the things that I talked about with Swami before, just in preparing for the chat. You know, my family is very into faith, and it was just important for me to really begin the series from the Hindu faith tradition, because resilience is really like, it is a clinical term now. Like they really have like resilience classes and resilience training and dealing with how people confront and overcome trauma. And even with just the yoga practice, everything, you know, I'm hearing the language, and as I'm listening to all this in the health equity work I was doing, I was like, I'm not sure people understand that there's Hindu faith tradition roots of all of this. So it's really beautiful to really begin to highlight sort of the non sort of mainline, you know, faith traditions. And it is very natural to me. When I talked to her, I said, you sound so much like my aunt that I have in Trinidad. So there's a lot that is very, very comfortable for me. Okay, so we have someone, hello from the Bronx. Oh my goodness, this is Susan. I got on right when we lost the Swami. I look forward to meeting her. Oh, thank you, Susan. Did you want to share anything? Are you on the phone? You're on the phone?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm on the phone. I just didn't use the video, or I'm trying to stay quiet because I have loud dogs.
Okay.
I really look forward to meeting the Swami, and thank you, Roberta, for, you know, sending.
You're welcome. You guys don't give up. Wait 1 second. I think she's going to call back.
Are you recording it? Will it be something that we can watch after as well?
Yes, it's recording.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to,
I'll show my face so you know who I am. Hi. And then I'm going to unmute myself. I mean,
Okay, there you go.
take
Hold on.
video of it.
Let me spotlight you so people can see you. There you go.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so
You're
close.
in the Bronx now? That's actually, my mom lives in the Bronx. How are you
Does
handling?
she?
Yes, how are you handling everything?
You know, it's complicated, but I think, I don't know, you know, I'm trying to stay above the fray, and, you know, there's no preparing yourself for something like this by any means, but I just happen to have had a few very difficult life events happen over the past, you know, in a very short period of time. So I really understand resilience, and that things don't stay the same, and that there is going to be a change, you know, change is on its way, and we just have to keep focused. And for me, my eye on the prize in November, like just really working as hard as I can to make sure we have a different outcome in November. But yeah, so, but I always love listening to the wise and the wisdom of the Swamis of the world. So I so appreciate this forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, and that was really the point of it. There's so much happening, and really wanting people to feel and find some kind of source of sort of community around being resilient together, you know, finding the strength from one another and having this kind of exploration to kind of build upon what we understand of it. So yes, I definitely appreciate that. Does anyone else kind of want to share how they define resilience for themselves, and from their faith tradition, or just from their life experiences? How do you define it? Sort of what's the principles that really undergird your strength through these kinds of trying times that we're facing?
You know, am I still on mute?
No, you're unmuted. Is that Susan?
Yes, I just also wanted to say, for those living in New York, and I'm sure, I don't know how many are on this call, but those 7 o'clock sessions where you go out and you cheer with, for me, it's with the Bronx, you know, but it's this collective voice that really is powerful. And it's not, there's so much more we need to be doing, but just every day at 7 o'clock for the 5 minutes and cheering with our fellow neighbors, for the healthcare workers and for all those that are sort of on the front lines, is a collective force that's very powerful. So I just wanted to recognize that as well.
That is good.
Thank you, Susan. It's so good to see you. Oh my goodness. Dora, I sent Swami the meeting number to call in.
Okay,
Hoping she's going to be able to do that.
okay,
Double check that I sent her the right one.
okay.
So
We'll just hold tight. It's
she will
good.
call in.
You know, I think back to your question, Dora, about like what are resilience things. Again, my experience, you know, I this old gospel hymn, count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done, right? It that to me is one that I've used in lots of situations. But it maybe was the most important right after my husband died. Like it was just such a horrible time, but like I kept counting all the ways that I still was blessed in the midst of all that, right? And so it does seem like to me for this moment or any moment, always trying to count blessings and make them really specific, name them one by one.
That's really good. The specificity of it. It's hard, you know, because when, again, going back to her original, she described this image of you trying to put a pole in the ground and you have to dig it wide and then fill it in, but then you shake it to see how sturdy it is. And so counting your blessings in the midst of that, you know, and keeping that sense of gratitude for the blessings and even being able to really perceive the blessings, you know, it's really, really, what helps you do that? Like, because instead of focusing on the negative when it's all around you, how are you able to really even perceive the blessing to count it?
Well, I do think there's, you know, for all of us, there's just got to be some intentionality around, you know, what we let our minds do, right? And so, you know, again, you know, I've always, whenever things are stressful for me and I'm worried about them or whatever, I take a group of people and I go around and I pray for them. And so like I pray for every single person on the staff, or I pray for all my family members wherever they are, right? And so it's like forcing my head to stop doing whatever it's doing and focus on, you know, thinking good things, right?
Yes, no, that is good. And Swami did mention that. She was talking about that was one of the foundational principles, is getting that place of peace in your mind. Yeah. Does anyone else?
Hello, Hari Om.
There
She's back.
Yes.
She's back. Beautiful. Swami,
Oh,
welcome.
okay.
We were resilient.
Well, that took a surrender.
Yes. She's gonna make it back. She's gonna make it back. So I'm gonna actually change the view since she's on the phone, so that we're all just see each other. So Swami, definitely wanted to continue. We're talking about sort of, is there any sacred text or scripture that you kind of rely on to bring you to that place of pushing you to that place of release and staying in that place of release and surrender?
What would be relying on the Raja Yoga book. It's called Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and also Gita, which I referred many times. But you know, of late, some years now, the Hindu, I believe, and yogic teaches also, teaches you to really go deep inward, to be in your own heart, past the just the surface feelings and emotions, but really through meditation. You know, at the end, at the moment, you may ask to right around you to read, but that's in you already because you have read it and have affected your life very significantly. So nowadays, just look scripture in my heart, that God's voice, light in my heart, and rely on my own. When you say it sounds like mine, but it's not. You know, when we place a deep inside us heart, it's a divine place when we really give ourselves up and God, all is yours. All is, I am you. You are part of me, or I am part of you. And, through it helps me to get to the place of where I feel faith, surrender. So that's I go to.
That's beautiful. How since
Thank
we
you.
all kind of social distancing, how does that concept, how do you live that out? That's sort of that sense of connectivity, even though there's a lot of people who don't have families and so they're social distancing by themselves, or they're far away from their family.
Yes.
Yeah, how do
Yes. Yes.
time it?
Sure. You know, I read somewhere, which is very much when social distancing, somebody said, let's think not social distancing, but physical distancing, but so connected. Another yoga and Hinduism also, we learn that we don't need someone's physical closeness necessary for our own happiness. Look for happiness or comfort in physical closeness, and sometimes we get attached in a way, kind of having a activism in finding that and happiness within. Depends someone close or comforting you, I touched or talking a lot or so. In a way, it's kind of that. But I like to emphasize that right now. People are suffering. It is a little off-putting to have to be 6 feet apart or 20 feet apart. But we are. I think that this shows on that level that this shows is how connected we are. Truly, how we are connected and need each other's company or closeness. We shall have that very soon again. But what is important, I think, is not to be attached. And that one of the core teachings that suffering comes from our attachment. So this is us in a way how to joy. It is possible. It is there. But if it is not there, don't be attached. Still keep that happiness that is there within us always. Thank you.
Thank you, Swami. And then the last thing I want to ask is, how do you hold on to that happiness? I think that sometimes, and we were talking about this while you were reconnecting, when you have, that you have an inner strength, you have the sort of that strength, and you've had resilience to overcome, and in the past you've overcome certain things, and then how do you continue to build and develop and hold on and sustain that resilient, that place of that happiness and that peace that you have within and you've cultivated, but then you have new things that come to kind of really just threaten that? Is it something that you can do and build, like how you go to a gym and you can exercise it? Because some people see resilience as sort of this muscle that, if I have a checklist and I do certain things, I'm strong. Or is it something that just naturally develops, is very organic, and there's nothing intentional that you can do, or there's nothing sort of purposeful that you can do to actually build it? Can you build it, or is it just naturally grown?
Oh, I we wield it. It's always there, but we've forgotten. You know that that divine within, God within, the peace, and that is always with us. In fact, many of us begin journey into our faith thing or looking for the or permanent happiness, permanent peace when we have lost something, suffered so much pain, then we look that's more permanent. Certainly, what's happening now, how imperfect, how fragile can be relationship can. What we think we have to base our own happiness, peace. So it's helping us to build that being steady and grounded in our inner, in who we are. And I do believe for me has so much certainly to be of thinking others to service, because that connects me as a spiritual oneness with to my happiness is this happiness, so to speak, becomes something that's not just me. Then it becomes more something that builds. And yoga, that is karma yoga, bhakti yoga, devotion, prayers, and through Raja Yoga of meditation, deep within, inside each one of us, that place of absolute permanent peace and happiness. So those service, devotion, and meditation can build the strong connections we already have within.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. So before we close out, just want to ask if anyone has a question for Swami, if you want to put it in the chat box. If not, then we'll close out. I'll wait.
Right. There is no question. May I end with a mantra, which is one of the powerful Hindu prayers for sake of all those who are suffering and who are serving in the midst of front line, and all of us to keep, most importantly, to keep our own peace, and there will be others to share love and joy continues to be our life together.
Yes, I absolutely want you. Roberta asked if you can offer us any suggested readings as a follow-up.
Suggested reading. Yes, there are beautiful daily readings are available from that. I would go your own faith scripture, because scriptures always have light but for myself, I read Swami Dayananda's daily reading. We do it, from the cell phone, called and present. It helps me to be in the present moment today, this moment I take each day. That's called golden present. And to know yourself, that is what I go to in times like this. And Swami Sachli has a small booklet that devotees has collected together called, In Time Crisis. I will send a link to that if we have it.
Okay.
Again, I would say, also singers to express our emotions and songs, and that chanting is very helpful because it elevates us to a place of God's vision.
Mm.
I really suggest, as well as singing, is chanting or sing prayer. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yes, Swami. And so now if you want to close us out, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Swami, for your time. And it's on for you to close. Thank you.
Thank you all for, and thank you for being, and thank you for all your service that you bring to your community. Kam yajamahe sugandhin pushtivatanam urvarukamidandanan mricho mukshya mamritat om shanti. We worship you, all seeing one, fragrant you nourish bountifully. From fear of death, may you cut us free to reach immortality. Om Shanti Shanti Loasta Kino Bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Victory to light. Thank you all. Shanti.
Thank you. Om Shanti. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And we'll post this on our website. Thank you.